Welcome back to another episode of Easy Eats. Today on the show we're making pulled pork and bruschetta. And I know the two of them don't go really together, but the reason why we're doing this segment is because one, I have a birthday party tomorrow, so I got to feed a bunch of people. And this is a good way of, pulled pork is a great way of doing that, and bruschetta is very simple. So we're going to get started with the pork first because this is going to take about 3.5, all total almost 4 hours to cook. But yeah, it takes a long time, but it's very, very simple. We use a pork shoulder. I use a pork shoulder. And the reason why, we're going to cook it for a long time. It's very tough now because it's the shoulder part of the pig, but once we cook it for a long time, it's going to really break down. But it's not going to break down too much, so it's not too tender that if you put it in that long, it turns to mush. So this is basically a shoulder, okay? And you get it. I get these on sale. Like I'll buy them if I'm going to the grocery store or anywhere like that. I see these on sale. I'll pick up a couple. Like right now, I think they're on the grocery store for like $6. And for $6, this thing is going to go a long way, right? First thing I'm going to do though, there's always a layer of fat. I'm going to keep most of the fat, but I don't want that layer of fat. I just don't want it to be too fatty. And so I'm just going to trim that off, basically. And leave the rest of the fat for flavor for sure. I'm going to make this first, let this sit in the oven and cook up a bit while I cook the bruschetta. The bruschetta is simple, but it's really good. So I'm going to get the last little bit of this fat, because we don't really need all that fat. There's enough fat already in amongst the meat. I'll leave some pieces on, like I'll leave that on and just get rid of it. I don't even salt and pepper this. I just throw it in, and today we're making root beer pulled pork, so I just throw it in a pot. Pretty much it. There's a few more than that. Okay, so I use root beer. Make sure it's not diet because you will get an awful aftertaste. No caffeine. That's fine because no caffeine root beer. But I made the mistake of getting diet before and not realizing until I get home. So I'm just going to pour this on the pork, and we're going to take 3 cans. Roughly, yeah, that's all I use, 3 cans. And this is a little big of a pot, but it's the only one I got. If you have anything smaller, use it for sure and just cover it up with tin foil. You want to cover it. It's 3 cans of root beer. And then I'm going to go with a liter chicken stock. Okay, nothing fancy. I just picked up this stuff because it was $2. So there's no secrets. Campbell's chicken stock. Okay. Then some thyme. First I'm going to wash my hands before I touch that thyme. Couple sprigs of thyme. I got the oven already preheated to 325, so that's good. So we're just going to take a couple bunches of thyme there. Nothing crazy. I love thyme. It goes great with pork. And that is it for that part. Cover it up. Throw it in the oven. I do for 3.5 hours. Okay. 3 hours. I may check on it around the 2.5 hour mark. Maybe flip it if I want to, but I'm gonna go 3:30. All right. So now we're gonna mix this with a sauce. Okay, and the sauce is very straightforward. Get out of the way. 2 cans root beer. Okay, so 2 cans of root beer. And you're just going to let this simmer. That's going to be on there for 3 hours. This sauce really takes about a half hour to 40 minutes all total to make. So you don't have to make it right away. And that's the good thing about pulled pork, is that it literally takes 5 minutes to put in the oven, and then you have 3 or 4 hours to do whatever you want. I got a cup of Dave's hot sauce. Okay, I like the Dave's flavor. And this recipe here, I can't take credit for because I got it from a couple of buddies of mine at Flavor Restaurants in Sydney. These guys hooked me up with a good pulled pork recipe at one of their cooking classes, and I have to say it's been a fan favorite every time we have people over. 1 stick of garlic butter. You get it at the grocery store. I use that a lot. And then a bottle of your favorite favorite barbecue sauce. I use Bear and Chipotle. You get this at the Superstore only because it's President's Choice. But this is my go-to favorite barbecue sauce. So you can use whatever you want. You can make your own if you want. But this is a quick appetizer kind of, well, meal too, because pulled pork goes good on burgers too. So you could use whatever you want. So I'm going to put the whole bottle in here. Really, this is enough to make 3 shoulders, but I'm only making 1 today. So a whole bottle of that. There you go. Done. Then you're going to put that on the burner. Ba-da-da-da-da. We're going to let that melt up. Just going to stir this in there a bit. And all we're going to do is bring it to like a rolling bubble, and then drop it down and let it simmer for like a half hour, 40 minutes. So I'm going to let this simmer up, check on the pulled pork in a couple minutes, and I'll be back to start the bruschetta. See you in a bit. Okay, welcome back. Right now we're going to start the bruschetta. The pork's still in the oven, cooking away. I got some boiling hot water for the tomatoes, and I just used Roma Tomatos for the bruschetta. I put a little slit in the top of each one. I'll show you why in a second. And then I'll use about probably six tomatoes all total. And I'm going to peel them. And a good way of peeling them is just put them in some, don't boil them because you'll cook them, but hot water, and for a couple seconds. Hot. Maybe a minute. Okay? Let them sit for a minute. And while they're doing that, I'll just put them right back here on the stove. Half a cup of half a cup of sun-dried tomatoes in the oil. It's fine. I'm gonna finally chop these buggers up. And like I said, summer parties especially. You know, if you're invited over to a barbecue or anything like that, this bruschetta mix, easy to make, and a lot of people seem to enjoy it. So I'm gonna finally chop those up. Okay. So half a cup. Okay. Well, 3 cloves of garlic, nice sized cloves. So There's 1, 2, 3. Okay. Oh, that's already done. Finely chop the garlic. Okay. And use real garlic, don't use garlic powder. Okay. Get these tomatoes off first. You don't want these cooking. And you'll see, as you can see there, can you see that, Brandon? The skin is already started to peel away. So that process is a lot simpler doing it that way. Okay, I'll finish off the garlic. Bruschetta was never really a fan favorite of mine, but after I was eating it and good bruschetta, I really enjoy it now. And this recipe is something I've gotten a few parts off the internet and made a few parts of my own, and I'm at a point where I like it. Everyone else seems to like it. It goes pretty quick. When it's at the house, everyone eats it up. So 3 cloves of garlic, smash. Okay, finely chopped. And my barbecue sauce for the pulled pork is still just simmering away. Okay, let's simmer it away. I'm going to go with 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. Okay, there we go. Mix that in there. Some salt and pepper, freshly cracked pepper, and some salt. Okay, and do it to taste. But I usually, whatever I just put in there is usually roughly what I normally do. And then I take some fresh basil. Oh, I love basil. Anything with tomatoes, basil is like, I don't know how to explain it, but it just seems that it has to go together. So just take this up, bunch it up. Finally, I've also put cilantro on this too. In the summertime, I find cilantro goes really well, just a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of cilantro, but I do like a little bit here. So we're gonna fine chop up some fresh basil. And now that we're coming around summertime, you can grow this all year if you got enough sun in your house. But now it's summertime, you can grow this on your back step, in your windowsill. Stir that in there. So we got the salt and pepper. Okay. Now I'm going to take a little bit of honey, maybe a little tablespoon of honey. My honey's starting to harden up. I gotta get this warm. There we go. So about a half a tablespoon of honey. Oh, some on my hand there. Throw that in there. Secret ingredient, balsamic. I'll put a tablespoon of balsamic in there. You gotta emulsify that a bit so you get that mixed in there. Okay. Now the tomatoes are nice and cool, so I'm gonna just peel back the skin, the flesh, the skin, and keep the flesh. And we're just gonna cut these up and seed them, because you don't want seeds in your bruschetta. That's it. So, show you that. That's gonna curve up that. There's one. There's two. There you go. There's that one. And that one. Okay. So you're just gonna add these. I use 6. 6 is enough to get enough bruschetta for a good crowd, right? Because you're only putting a little bit on each baguette. And that's it. Okay, you're just gonna keep adding these. So I'm gonna cut the rest of these up. Take a little break, and when I get back, we're gonna put these suckers in the oven, and hopefully they come out good. See you in a bit. Okay guys, welcome back. It's been like 3 hours, so we sat around and waited. But the pulled pork is done. I'm gonna take that out. Now I let it go for like 3 hours, 15 minutes. So, woo! Woo-wee! Okay, so all we're gonna do is we're gonna let this cool, because this, my friend, is hot. It's falling apart right now, so there we go. I'm gonna pick off that thyme. Actually, I'm just gonna throw that thyme right there. Okay. So I'm gonna let that cool before we start pulling it apart. And our sauce has been simmering, as you can see. So I'm just gonna take that off. Put that over. Oh, there goes my stove. Or my thing beeping. Now, this we gotta boil down to about half, okay? So you want to reduce that to half. Because this, we're going to combine these two sauces. So we're just going to keep stirring that. Okay? So the bruschetta's just about ready to go. I'm going to put this on. So we got a French baguette. A baguette. Okay, so I'm just going to cut, I don't like it too thick. Cut that end off. So I'm going to cut probably half to 3, about a 1/4 inch half. Okay? Or you can cut it down on an angle like this to make them longer. Okay? So it's up to you. And all we're going to do is we're going to toast this. So I just got a little bit of olive oil. I'll rub that on the bread. You're going to toast these for like 2 minutes. Okay. So I might make another bigger one. Just because Brandon said he was starving. So a little bit of olive oil. Okay. Fire them on a baking sheet. Pal. And like I said, 2 minutes. Fire them in the oven. Okay, so they're toasted. Now the pork. Okay. So what I do is I'll get a plate, or even a bowl, just for the excess fat, because you don't want, I don't really like the texture of fat. Make sure you got clean hands. And then just pull them apart. Just like that. Okay? So I pull it apart, and then whenever I get like a chunk of fat like that, I'll just put it into the bowl, right? But it's really that simple. So we're gonna speed this up. Oh! Don't scrape the fork across the bowl. So we're gonna speed this up because you don't want to watch me. I was gonna say tearing the pork apart, and we'll be finish up right now. Okay, so you just want to pull it all apart, small stringy kind of pieces. You don't want big chunks. Okay. Now it's time to bring the sauces back. Get the sauces back into the pork. Okay, so take our barbecue sauce mixture. Now we boiled this down to reduce the liquid that it cooked in. Oh shoot! To about half. Ellie, Charlie, let's go barbecue sauce. So all we're going to do now is just going to pour this stuff right in there. Boys love the barbecue sauce, don't you, girls? Huh? Yeah, you eat that tonight. All right, so we're just going to stir that up. Okay. Now this is enough sauce to make probably 3 pork shoulders anyway, and we only made 1 today. So, to be honest with you, I've bagged it and frozen it. Sorry, and thawed it out and used it throughout the year, and it worked great. So our baguette's toasted. Like I said, I had that on. So we're just going to pour a little bit of sauce.
Don't forget the baguettes again.
Yeah, no, the baguettes are. I burnt the first set of baguettes. Brandon's fault. But so we're just gonna stir that in there. You know what I'm gonna do? This. And you're just gonna soak. Make sure all the pork is soaked in the juice. That's about it. Okay, so that's enough juice for everything. And as you can see, drop that thing in the pot. I do that every time. I'm just gonna put that over there. Pick out that. Okay. So now we'll do the. I'm going to do the bruschetta. Oh, I need to sneeze so bad, man. I was holding it since the stove. I was like, oh. Okay, so the bruschetta. Oh, man. That would have been great. Sneezed all over the pulled pork. There's a couple pieces of bruschetta. So they're already lightly toasted. Okay. You give your mixture a stir. Now, I put 1 tablespoon of balsamic in it, but I didn't find it was enough. So I put another tablespoon of balsamic. 2 tablespoons of balsamic. Okay. Just a little bit for each one. And like you can make this mixture the day before. I recommend it. That way all the flavors will come together and it'll be that much better. And I've also, and I'll do this tonight because my wife wanted to know what was for supper. So I'm making chicken tonight, but I will take this bruschetta mix and blend it with a little bit of cream, heat it up, and it's a great sauce. Like, I mean, delicious sauce. Throw that on some chicken with some pasta or vegetables. I'll probably make up a few vegetables tonight. And that sauce it's a home run. So there's multi-uses for it. Take a little bit of freshly grated mozzarella. Okay. Mozzarella. I love mozzarella, especially melted. Oh man, it is so good. Like so good. So, add that in there. Okay. Fire this back into the oven for like 2 minutes, not even. Just enough for that to melt. Okay, leave that on, I guess. Okay. Yeah, I'll get the pulled pork on the sandwich while that's melting. So like I said, this is not a meal to say, well, the pulled pork could definitely be used for a meal, but this is basically for, you know, summertime barbecues, holidays, you're getting people over. And it's a great because it takes no time to make, and not something you have to watch over all the time. I like using a soft bun for it. It's really good. So I'm gonna cut this in half. Okay. Now I get the pulled pork up. Now my brother-in-law says a little bit of coleslaw, so I'm going to try that out today. And the coleslaw I just picked up at the grocery store, I didn't make it. So I'm going to try a little bit of coleslaw and a little bit of the pork. Okay. So that's the pulled pork sandwich, the coleslaw. And I'll get a plate for that. I have a check on my bruschetta. That's melting up good. Look at that. Got enough. Oh, look at these. I cannot wait. Hot. People love it, okay? And it's not hard to make in a sauce. Throw that in the fridge. I'm gonna put this in the fridge. I'm gonna blend it up with some cream tonight. And I'm gonna make a nice little sauce from our chicken. So I'm gonna have a little bite of the one with the coleslaw. Which one was that? This one, because my son probably won't like it. Not bad. It has a crunch to it and a little tanginess. That's really good. Now, the bruschetta. This is probably the best bruschetta ever. I don't want to toot my own horn, but it's pretty good, man. So, the bruschetta is easy to make, and I'm telling you, it's delicious, especially summertime. If you're growing your own tomatoes and your own basil. So, 2 appetizers for the summer, for the holidays. Hope you enjoyed the show, and I'll catch you back next week on another episode of Easy Eats.